Again, I don't know that I've ever tasted something that tastes so close to something I like, but that I didn't like.
Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
And welcome to another double-blind head-to-head where you see our reactions to the pours and the prices before we find out what's in either glass. That said, let's run our randomizer and see which one of these pairs we're tasting today.
Two. 1, 2.
Easy peasy. We will get these poured and be right back with our full thoughts. All right, let's get right into glass one on the nose.
Wasting no time. This smells like a boozy apple juice and rubber cement.
I don't get the rubber cement, but mine immediately went to spiked apple juice.
Yeah, I got the apple juice and like a glue substance, but it wasn't like white Elmer's glue.
You know, I can kind of see the rubber cement though, because like if you smell it, there's like this sharp edge on glue that kind of attacks your nose.
Yeah.
And this has that.
Yeah.
It smells sweet, fruit forward, and a little bit aggressive. Let's see what it's like on the palate.
Pretty aggressive on the palate.
Wow.
Not too aggressive, but it's making itself known.
Yeah, it doesn't seem super high proof, but there's definitely some tingle there.
Tingle, yeah.
Like it's really coming at your tongue with just tingly spice all over.
It's spicy. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, almost like a rye spice. I don't know that it's a rye. It kind of has some bourbony flavors to it, but
it's sweet.
Yeah, it is very sweet, very fruit forward on the palate. All that stuff carries over from the nose, and it has that rye spice just dancing all over your tongue. Let's get in for another sip.
All right. So the spice kind of tamed down a little bit, but it's still there. It's still there, and like the mid to the back of my throat. It's
more like
present.
front to mid tongue for me. She's a spicy gal.
Yeah.
Like there's a concentration of fruit flavor there. It's almost like a fruit concentrate that just sits right on the tip of your tongue with that appley sweetness. And it's almost like it goes into that rock candy zone for me.
Okay.
Like a very concentrated, sugary, appley, fruity sweetness. Very interesting. Let's get into glass two and see what we're working with on the nose.
My initial thought on this is it smells dry.
Dry, okay. I'm getting kind of like earthiness from it. I'm not really getting any sweetness. It's just kind of flat earthiness. It's not doing a whole lot compared to glass one. Glass one was way more jumping out of the glass on the nose.
Yeah, this smells like dry and like cardboard. Dry cardboard.
I'm actually going to go with like some dry fall leaves on the ground.
No. Well, okay. I'm not going to say you don't get that. I don't get that because I don't agree.
Ooh.
But that's fine.
Now it's coming in. It's coming into a little bit more like oaky vanilla-ness now. Let's get it on the palate.
Okay. It's softer than glass one.
It doesn't have that rye spice dancing all over your tongue.
It is sweeter than I thought it would be based on how dry it smelled. And I have a hair in my lip. There we go. And yeah, sweeter than I need another sip because I was just not expecting that sweetness.
Yeah, the sweetness that is there is very tempered. It's almost still that kind of fruit forward sweetness, but it's so tempered down with oakiness and a little bit of vanilla. And there is a little bit of rye spice kind of laced in there. I'm not saying it's a rye, but I wouldn't be surprised if these two were ryes. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Let's get into a second sip.
The second sip, I'm getting more oak, ever so slightly though. It's very soft and subtle. It's a very soft and subtle pour, and I don't know if that's coming across even more soft and subtle because we had tried glass one first, and that was pretty powerful. So I'm gonna need to like taste them the opposite direction. You
know what I'm getting on this?
What?
Root beer. All in the mid to back palate is straight up root beer. Yeah.
I'm not getting that, but that's interesting.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
I'd be stunned if these weren't ryes. I'm going to be totally wrong, but we're going to.
Might not be.
Look, this is a very interesting comparison because glass one is very fruity, very sweet, very lively. Glass two is much more tempered, much more earthy, more oaky, but seemingly, at least to me, on first impressions here, more balanced and maybe a better crafted product.
Perhaps.
But then I don't know if I like what it's bringing to the table as much as Glass 1. Glass 1's a little rambunctious and fun. So,
well, you want a little rambunctiousness today, I guess.
This is going to be fun to compare these two. Yeah. We're going to take some time to do that, and then we will be back with what we think about these after spending some time with them. After spending some time with both of these pours, we've got our scores. We're going to pop those up on the screen now. Let's talk about them. What do you think about them?
So to be honest, I didn't love either one of these. They were both fine. I liked the nose on Glass 1 better than the nose on Glass 2, but I liked the flavor and the experience on Glass 2 better than I like the flavor and experience on Glass 1. So you'll see those reflected in my scores.
Really?
Yeah.
So this was kind of a flip of the coin for you, or?
Yeah, like they were fine, and also this is my first pour of the day, so maybe that's affecting me, but also maybe they're just not what I'm wanting today. Like I think the Glass 1 smelled good. I didn't love the flavor. It was too spicy for me today. But then Glass 2 didn't smell that great. It was a little more in what I wanted flavor-wise, but I also wanted it to smell good. So it's a flip of a coin. They're fine.
Yeah. Okay. I think both of these are fine as well. They're not really for me either one, but I did have a strong preference towards Glass 1 out of the two glasses. The nose on Glass 1 was the best thing out of either one of these glasses to me. I thought it was syrupy and fruity and sweet. It was really enjoyable. I could actually smell. I almost went 2 thumbs up on the nose on Glass 1.
Wow.
But it was just a little too simplistic for me to want to go that far. Like I could smell it a few times, get the general idea. Yeah. I'm pretty good after that. But the flavors just weren't my bag. It was very fruit forward and kind of like that rock candy, artificial sugary sweetness that wasn't for me. And I did say on the experience that it was feisty and fun, but that rye spice mid-palate got to actually be numbing. And I like high proof pours usually, and I can handle some spice, but this one right here was just different. Not it. Yeah. It was very aggressive on the spice. So not really my thing. Glass 2, the nose was all right. I could take it or leave it. Same with the flavor. I could take it or leave it. That root beer flavor was good when I'm drinking root beer, but it's just not something I really love in my whiskey. I did say that it did have a good experience. It was fairly balanced. It was actually very balanced.
It did feel more balanced, I feel like, than Glass 1.
It had this nice swell of flavor. So when you drink it, it comes in soft on the front of the palate, kind of swells up a little bit mid-palate, and then it has a nice medium finish to it. And it was a really nice experience. I wouldn't be surprised if Glass 2 is the quote-unquote better crafted whiskey of the two of these. Maybe a little bit more age or, just better blending or something. But at the end of the day, I did have a preference towards Glass 1. Can't wait to find out what these are.
Yeah.
Price first, and then what we've been drinking. So in our blind sample key, glass number 1 is number 44.
Okay.
So price on glass number 1 is
$55.
I could kind of see that.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not my favorite, but
it tastes
it's
like
not a ripoff.
A $55 whiskey.
Yeah, that's not for us.
It's not in my flavor profile, but it's not bad.
Glass number 2 price
$60.
Yeah.
It's 43, right? Number 43. Yeah.
Yeah, number 43. Okay, let's find out what we've been drinking. Glass number 1 is what?
Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye.
Glass number 1?
Yeah.
Okay, that math actually checks out. Wow, I usually get more lemon on it, and I didn't get much citrus on it today.
Sorry, I'm shocked.
Wow, what's glass number 2 then?
Russell's Reserve Single Barrel Rye.
What? Oh man, I've been waiting for this matchup to come up for so long.
We don't like either one of these.
We love them non-blind. We absolutely love them non-blind.
When we know that we're drinking them, we're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. You gotta try it.
Look, I'm not trying to cover my tracks here, but note that I did say that that's about par for the course for what you were getting in the glass. Like, it just wasn't hitting us right today. It's not our flavor profile today, but when you said $55 and $60, I wasn't balking at that price and saying no.
Well, I said the $55 one tasted like a $55 whiskey. And you know what I think is funny is that I love Wild Turkey Rare Breed, the bourbon. And the rye I like, but it doesn't seem to do well for me in blinds.
See, now that I know that it's the Rare Breed rye, I'm getting all the lemon and honey. I'm getting all the lemon and honey. I almost went Lipton tea on this, but I steered away from it.
Yeah.
I've never gotten root beer on that Russell's, though. Maybe it's opening up more and changing a little bit.
Perhaps. Who knows? It's
very, very interesting.
Very interesting. I'm going to say I'm upset, but I'm not because the rye has kind of surprised me. I don't like it as much as I think I should.
So you would pick the bourbon rare breed over the rye?
Probably, yeah.
Interesting. You know what we got to do? We got to blend the two of them and see how we like that compared to both of them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a head-to-head for the future.
Perhaps.
I'm going to take one more sip of this Russell's real quick.
Because you're trying to tell yourself you like it?
No, I'm just trying to see, now that I know what it is, I'm trying to see what it is. So,
I mean, you know what it is. You said it tastes like root beer.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change it now.
Yeah, wow. So typically it's more caramel forward for me when I'm non-blind. And now that I know what it is, I'm getting more of the caramel note. But really the root beer syrupy note is what's in there.
Yeah.
So, wow, yeah. I mean, these just, again, they're not bad. They're just not for me today. I'm not feeling that vibe. I just wasn't on the wavelength of these pours. And that can go to show you, which is why we do it blind, that even your favorite pours sometimes can come across a little off or a little flat or whatever.
Not in your wheelhouse.
Right, on any particular day. This was a really interesting matchup. We need to get into our real world scores though. So based on the price and availability, where are you at on rare breed rye?
So the price and the availability is good. It gets a thumbs up for me.
Yep, I think I'm at the same place. Thumbs up. You're getting value for the money is kind of even, I would say. Happy with that. Now you walk into a store and you see rare breed rye sitting on the shelf. And we're out of our bottle. Would you buy another one or not?
Honestly, maybe it gets just like just okay. Like, I'm finding I might not like the rye as much as I like the bourbon.
What does that put your real world score at?
At a 3.5 out of 10.
Wow. So a little less than that 4 to 6 point range we like to see for good value for the money. And a lot of that's contributed to the fact that it didn't hit you very well today.
Didn't hit me well today.
For me, I'm more of a bourbon than a rye guy, and I'm always going to gravitate to rare breed bourbon more than rare breed rye. So for me, it gets a just okay on consumer as well. If we are out of a bottle and I see one in the store and we've got the money in our budget, I might grab one, but I could also pass it up, especially if we're out of the bourbon and that's sitting on the shelf too.
Oh yeah, 100% get the bourbon over the rye for me.
So that and that puts my real world score at a 4 out of 10 for rare breed rye. Let's move on to Russell's.
Okay.
Price and availability. It's a little more expensive. It is a single barrel.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that.
Right.
But, you know, you do get kind of the uniqueness of a single barrel. So that's kind of fun, but it might not be as good as this, or it might be better. Who knows? Yeah.
So I think and it's pretty available, like overall.
It's reasonably available. It's kind of reasonably available, like rare breed rye is.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up on retail. The price isn't bad. The availability isn't bad. I know it's a single barrel, but you could probably get any single barrel pretty easily. So there's a thumbs up on retail. Yep,
I'm the same place. Thumbs up. I think it's fair value for the money. It just, again, didn't hit us right today. But we are out of this bottle, and you walk into a store and you see a Russell's rye sitting on the shelf for $60. You gonna grab one or not?
Honestly, the same thing. Maybe not. So it gets just okay.
Yep.
There are a few other ryes that I can think of right now that I'd rather get instead of these two.
Yep.
So
tell the people, what are they?
New Riff rye and Sagamore Spirit Double Oaked rye.
Yeah.
Those would be the ones I would get over these two. So that's why they get just okay.
Yeah, I would buy those as well over these. What's that put your real world score at for Russell's?
A 4 out of 10 for Russell's.
So a little over the rare breed rye.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, for me, I'm going to give it just okay on consumer as well, and that's going to put my real world score at a 3.5, a little less. We just kind of flip-flop there. That reflects what we feel about these two pours on this day, but we could do this tomorrow and everything could change because palates do change day to day. This was a super interesting head-to-head because this is our beloved Wild Turkey products, and you guys saw how things can differ. Very fascinating. We hope this was enlightening, and if anything else, we just hope that it highlights to you guys how when you're tasting totally double blind and you don't know what's in either glass, you can get some pretty wild results.
Absolutely. I think that about sums it up for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, give us a like. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, go ahead and do that. And also hit the bell notification to be notified when we post videos and also when we have our monthly live streams.
Be good to each other, and until next time, cheers.
Man, I'm kind of bummed about the new riff. I mean, the rare breed rye, but I'm not surprised. Every time it's lately not done well for me.
When you mix them, the rare breed rye just takes over the Russell's, and it's all lemon honey. But it does tame down.
Here's the deal.
It does tame down the rye spice, though.
Here's the deal. You weren't getting lemon honey before you knew it was rare breed.
I know, but it tames down the rye spice, though.
I just feel like you don't.
I think I misattributed the lemon honey as apple because I'm a crap whiskey taster.
I just think it's funny how as soon as you knew what it was, you're like, oh yeah, I get the lemon and honey.
I think your mom's funny.
My mom is funny. She doesn't even try, and she is funny. She's so cute.
Okay.
My mom's so cute. So you did your real world score?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about my perfect, like, I could be happy just with Rare Breed bourbon and Sagamore Spirit Double Oak Dry. Those 2 bottles.
Probably. Yeah.
For me, knowing me, I could have those all day.
And that's all you need.
That's all I need. Those 2 forever and ever.